Fairy tales are both stories of transformation and symbolic poetry. They are gifts from our ancestors, offering symbols and guidance for our human development. In this show, artist, philosopher, and teacher Sean Kramer will lead us into the imaginal realm of fairy tales, where we will find healing images and wise teachings for our own journey through this enchanted world. So welcome to Under Their Spell, meditating on fairy tales.
Welcome all to this meditation, this session of Under Their Spell, meditating on fairy tales. Today we will meditate on a very dreamlike, symbolic fairy tale called The Singing Soaring Lark. So to begin, we will bring ourselves into a meditative state, gathering our awareness into our bodies that are carriers of the deep unconscious of our human race, species, and of the universe. Our bodies bear these deep memories to us through symbols and dreams. Using our breath to bring ourselves into our bodies and into a calmer, receptive state. The in-breath brings our awareness in to fill our bodies, to observe and notice, to be present within our own inner awareness. And each out-breath is a letting go, relaxing out-breath, without trying to specify the tensions, the worries, concerns of our life. We simply let them go with the out-breath. We release them to the greater divine heavenly powers, so that during this time of meditation, we can be open and receptive to the symbols that have been given to us by our ancestors. Visualize, see yourself coming to the shore of a great ocean. There on the shore is a mysterious, ancient, symbolic, mythical being, a strong lion with the head and wings of an eagle. You approach this being and get on its back. It stands up and begins to fly with you over the ocean. In the middle of the ocean is a great tall tree rising right out of the middle of the ocean up into the sky. The lion with the eagle head and wings alights on top of the tree with you on its back. From this great height, feeling the power, mystery of this creature, with which you are now united, you look out over the great ocean, the mysterious ocean of existence of which you are a part. The great journey of which you are a part. The awe of your own existence and your place in it. And you feel the power, help, and support of this great creature, which is part of you. As a human, you have great depths, resources, strength to carry you on this journey. Returning to your breath, to your awareness of your body. Together we ask the mysterious holy angels, ancient spirits, and loving ancestors, those who communicate to us, to our world and our time, the symbols and lights that will help us in this journey, in this evolution. May they all be with us and enlighten us to the symbols of this story. The story we will meditate on today is a story that symbolizes the transformative process of the relationship between a man and a woman. Some fairy tales describe the process of self-development of an individual, the development and developments that we go through to mature and possess a deeper self with which then we can enter into relationship, giving and exchanging with other selves. So some fairy tales describe that. Some go up to the meeting, the marriage, the union, the beginning of a partnership. And other fairy tales like this one tell about what comes after the marriage. And so this tale tells us what a real, actual, quote, fairy tale marriage in fact looks like. And it's not like the phrase or stereotype sometimes suggests. It tells us that the steps from the initiation of a partnership, a commitment, towards the real developed inner union of two selves is very hard and long, contains many difficulties, sufferings, dark nights, alchemical transformations. And it tells us this not to discourage us, but to keep us from getting discouraged, which might happen if we had too simplistic or false an idea of what achieving a real committed partnership and relationship involves. And this story has three main parts. We'll go through them part by part. In the first part, it tells us how a girl comes to marry and live with a lion. The second part will tell us how this lion is changed into a dove, and in this, how the girl loses her lion husband. And the third part of our story will describe the journey of the girl to regain or maybe gain and transform her husband. So, the first part, let us begin. How a girl comes to marry and live with a lion. The scene is a family scene, a man, a father, who has 3 daughters, and he is about to leave on a long journey, and he asks the daughters what they would like him to bring back for them. The oldest daughter says she wishes she could have pearls. The second wishes for diamonds, but the third and youngest says, "My dear father, what I would like is a singing, soaring lark." And the father replies, "Yes, if I can get that, you shall have it." And he says goodbye to his daughters and sets out. Each of these things asked for by the daughters, pearls, diamonds, and a lark, a bird, are what they wish for, and hence symbols of their desires, the objects of their desires. And the girl, in asking a lark from her father, is expressing symbolically her desire, and that she is seeking its fulfillment from and in her father. And her father is seeking to provide this to his daughter. So the father has gone on his journey. He has pearls and diamonds for the 2 older daughters, but he has not found a singing, soaring lark. And he's on his way home, and he is unhappy about this, that he has not found this to provide this for his daughter. And he's particularly unhappy because she is his favorite child. There's a special love between the father and his youngest daughter. On the way back, he must pass through a forest. And as he passes through this forest, he comes to a castle, and near the castle is a tree. And on top of the tree, there it is. There is a singing, soaring lark. The father is delighted, and he wants to get the singing, soaring lark. And as he approaches the tree, a lion leaps out from beneath the tree and roars, a frightening lion roar, and says, whoever tries to steal my singing soaring lark, I will devour. And the father says to the lion, please, I'm sorry, I did not know that the lark belonged to you. I want to make amends for this wrong I have done. I will pay a large sum of money. So picture this image, which will in fact return in a transformed version later in the story. A tree with a bird at the top and a lion at the bottom. And this exchange about the bird, the lark, to whom it really belongs, who has it and who can give it to the daughter. The lion says it belongs to him and that the father is trying to steal it. So the father, in trying to provide this lark, this object of the daughter's desire, to his daughter, is described as not understanding and in some way trying to steal the lark that actually belongs to someone else, to a lion. And the lion says, I will spare your life if you promise to give to me whatever first meets you when you arrive back home. And if you do that, I will spare your life and you will have the lark for your daughter. The father hesitates because he's afraid that the first thing that might return to him will be his youngest daughter, because since she loves him more than all the daughters, she usually runs out to meet him first on his return home. But his servant, who is with him and who is very frightened of the lion, says, well, it might very well be your cat or dog that runs to meet you, so I think you better make this promise so we can get out of this predicament and not be killed by the lion. And the father agrees, makes the promise, and continues on his journey home. So the lark is a symbol of the girl's desires, and they take the form of a lark. The lark is a bird that soars very high and sings as it soars upward, as it soars up to heaven. So it conveys this spirit of very high soaring ideals that the girl has, which she is seeking in her father, but which belong to the lion to give her. And the lion, it being a frightening creature, is here an expression of her and the father's fears. So we have right at the beginning of the story, as this girl is looking toward her future, images of both her desires and fears, which we'll soon see are centered around marriage and union with a man. She has an inner conflict about marriage and about commitment and about union with the man. She has high ideals, hopes, and aspirations and desires, and she has fears. Aspirations that this will carry her heavenward, soaring up, and fears that this will destroy her and devour her, overpower her, and even kill her or kill parts of her. And the story shows in this bond between the father and the daughter that in some ways they both share these hopes and fears around marriage. And that there is some sort of conflict and ambiguity here about the girl's desires going into marriage being attached to the father or attached to the partner, her husband, and that somehow there's a connection and transference there. So the father returns home, and when he comes home, of course, the first thing to meet him is his youngest daughter, who comes running up, kisses him, embraces him, sees the lark, and is beside herself with joy. Whereas the father is weeping. And he says to his daughter that he has gotten this little bird at a very high price for his daughter. That in getting it, it has involved promising her to a savage lion who, when he has his daughter, is going to tear her in pieces and devour her. So this is how the father is in some way feeling about giving his daughter away in marriage. And the girl consoles him. She says the promise must be fulfilled and that she will go and try to soften the lion so that she may return safely to her father. So there are fairly complex relationships here, and motivations and intentions. The girl now is thinking she'll go to the lion, soften him, change him so that she can still keep the primary love and relationship with her father. So she goes to the forest and discovers that the lion is in fact, no surprise, an enchanted prince. And he is a lion by day, but by night he is a handsome man, and they celebrate their wedding and live together. And because he's a man by night and a lion by day, they remain awake at night and asleep in the daytime. So here's the woman married and living with a lion who is a man at night and a lion by day. He's enchanted. So the man, the husband, the male here is under some enchantment, which makes him not able to be fully himself. He is divided and kind of a shapeshifter, like a werewolf. He is under this enchantment that changes him and overpowers him with different personalities. And the couple live a day existence and a night existence. So, though they're married, there are separations and disunities between the day and the night, between what is when they're awake or asleep. That is, some parts are conscious and some parts of their beings and relationship are still very unconscious. And the man has this enchantment which we are not told or explained where it came from. And this is common in many fairy tales and in this type of fairy tale. Sometimes a vague explanation is given that something happened. Sometimes there's no explanation, and that itself is very significant and symbolic, that there's something that is affecting this relationship, something that kind of possesses this man in this relationship, that creates a conflict, creates a separated being and personality whose sources go back to kind of unfathomable, unremembered, unconscious past. And we and he and the couple does not know what happened or why it happened, but it has still great consequences which will unfold in their relationship, and they're trying to be really conscious together. And those are, of course, many things that we have. As we enter a relationship, things arise to enchant, to possess, divide, put us into some kind of unconsciousness that whose sources we don't remember, and we don't know what they are or what really happened or why, but their effects are there, and to be unfolded in the relationship and to be transformed and healed through the relationship. So now we move to the second part of our story. We've seen how the girl got into this marriage with a lion, half lion, half man. And now we go on from the story. So it doesn't say that they were married and lived happily ever after, because they don't. And that's just the beginning of their difficulties, we could say, but also transformations and developments. So it's very interesting what happens now and how it's symbolized. It will tell us about how the girl kind of loses her husband for a period. So they're living together, and the oldest sister is to be married, and the girl goes back to the wedding and tells the family who is very afraid that she's been torn in pieces by a lion and is no longer even alive. She tells her No, she has a handsome husband and she's very well off living in this castle in the forest. She returns and soon thereafter the second daughter is about to be married and she's invited, and she wants the lion husband to come with her. The lion's response is no, it's too dangerous for him to go back with her to her family in the wedding, because he says if even a ray from a lighted candle should fall upon him, he would be changed into a dove, and for 7 long years would have to fly away. The wife says, "No, please come. I will take great care to guard you from all light." So they go back and she builds a large box of wood, tries to make it so strong and thick that not a ray of light could enter it. And in this, the lion husband is shut up against any candles. So here we have more kind of disunities and separation. She brings her husband back to her family, but has to keep him in this large, light-proof box so that no light can enter. He's in the dark, and of course can't be seen by the family, and he can't see them. So though there's this step to bring her husband and her family, her former relations, together, there's this great barrier that she's built between them. And it happens that the box was made of fresh wood that wasn't cured and dried, and so it warps, and there's a little crack which no one notices. And when the wedding procession goes by with its candles, a little light goes in, and just a single ray of light falls on the lion, and he is transformed into a dove. And when she comes to look for him, there's a little dove. And the dove says, "For 7 years I must fly, but at every 7th step that you take, I will let fall a drop of red blood and a white feather. And these will show you the way. And if you follow the path of these, you will be able to release me." So a crisis in the relationship is started by the girl going back to a wedding. And one way of looking at this is her trying to look back to an earlier period in the relationship, might say the honeymoon period, instead of looking forward. And that this brings a kind of unconsciousness, a lack of light to the relationship. And when light comes to the reality, there's a trauma, a kind of a split. But another way of looking at it is that the meeting, the attempt to bring together the new relationship, the partnership with her husband, is affected adversely by her old relationships. their remnants, maybe her actual family members or her attachments to them, or in general her past relationships. Bringing the past relationships and the new relationship together has created a conflict that has to be worked through, and is not simple, easy, or quick. So symbolically, it will take a difficult time of 7 years where there is this distance between them. The one partner seems to be fleeing and avoiding, while leaving parts of itself bit by bit, and the other is pursuing and following. And this can happen in relationships, and maybe the fairy tale is saying it's normal that in relationships there's periods where one is pursuing and the other is pursued and fleeing or avoiding, and back and forth. Carl Jung said that a part of the alchemical transformative power of marriage, the vowed commitment of a man and woman, is that the vow means that they neither can run away from each other. And that when the light of consciousness comes, like the light of the candle, there can be times where one or the other wants to run away. Because of course we have in ourselves and in others things that our reaction is to hide from and run away from, and that the marriage is meant to keep, to oppose that tendency to run away, to keep the bond so that the light can shine and the transformative healing process can continue. The process of which at times we all would really be inclined to avoid and flee and hide from, as is happening here. So before we go into the final part of the story, the pursuit and transformation of and healing of these enchantments and conflicts and separations in their relationship, the process of bringing about the deeper inner union, the inner marriage, we can already see the themes of the fairy tale, and that can help us understand the symbols. In talking about the development of this relationship between this woman and man, wife and husband, this fairy tale is showing the difficulties that come into this new relationship, into forming this new intimate relationship between the man and woman, the difficulties that come from former relationships they can't remember, and particularly from their former relationships, their parents, father, mother, sisters, or possibly former partners. So that part of this alchemical process of making this new relationship is transforming and somehow integrating and refining and cord cutting regarding the former relationships and what they have done to us, most deeply from our parents. So in the final part of the story, we will see how the bride seeks this husband who's now from the lion has become a fleeing dove, and how the transformations and disenchantments are brought about. So the girl does follow, does not give up, following the dove, and the dove does not totally flee, but leaves drops of blood and feathers to show her the way. So the one partner is in some ways fleeing, avoiding, but also giving parts of themselves, but not ready or able to give all of themselves. The others accepting these and staying there and going out this symbolic 7-year time. And this story, I believe, has a lot of symbolism from alchemy. And alchemy can be for the 7 planets and the process of, and this, which all are connected with the 7 metals, the process of transforming from lead, Saturn, through the 7 stages to gold and the sun, which symbolize the realized, fully conscious human being. And when the 7 years are just about past and she thinks it's finally going to be over, alas, she sees no more feather and no more blood and no more dove. And looking around, the dove is gone, is not in sight. And she thinks, no human is able to help me now. And so, still not giving up, she climbs up to the sun and asks the sun if the sun has seen a flying white dove. The sun says no, he has not seen the dove, but the sun gives her something, a gift, a casket, a box, and says, open it when you are in your greatest need. She thanks the sun and goes on until night comes and sees the moon, and she asks the moon if the moon has seen the dove. The moon says no, but gives her the gift of an egg. It says, break it open when you are in very great need. She then goes on to the night wind and asks the night wind, but the night wind says, I have not seen it, but I will ask the other winds. And finally, it's the south wind gives the answer. The south wind has seen the white dove. So the girl in her journey reaches a point where she says no human can help her, and she goes to the cosmic powers, the sun, the moon, the winds. And she is going now to what we might call transpersonal. She has to go beyond the personal. Her own personal story, his story, maybe their own kind of psychoanalysis of history and what other people can help them, counselors can help them in relationship. And at this level of the relationship, she must contact these transpersonal, archetypal, cosmic powers, which she does. She has the capacity to receive gifts from the cosmic powers, and they have the gifts and want to give them to her. So here we're getting into the very kind of mysterious levels of our own experience and existence, and this symbolic story from our ancestors is telling us we have the ability to connect and receive gifts from these powers that will provide gifts that will help us when we're in this greatest need, this deepest distress, this great darkness in which we can't find any help in ordinary human means or the ordinary ways of getting help and counsel from other people. That there are sources and gifts that are available and will come to us from hard to say where or what, these kind of beyond personal powers, but they're there for us and we contact them. So we have that hope, many ways, maybe through a dream, through some synchronicity or meeting, but we can look for them and hope for them. They're there. We have connections with powers within us and around us in the universe that are there and come out and manifest and act in those moments of greatest distress and apparent helplessness and hopelessness. So what the wind tells her is that she must go to the Red Sea, and there the wind has seen the dove who has become a lion again since the 7 years are over, and the lion is there by the Red Sea in battle with a dragon, and the dragon is an enchanted princess. So one way the fairy tales talk is about enchantments and transformations into other figures. So the husband has gone back into his lion enchantment, and he's in this struggle with a dragon who is a woman who's under an enchantment. And one way of interpreting these enchanted states into other forms of being is that they are talking about our kind of the way we can be possessed and taken over by inner psychic forces, some going back to our deep evolutionary past, so our older brain systems that when we're in great distress and threat, it's not our later developed cortex and conscious rational thought that is working, but older systems like the hippocampus and the deeper so-called reptilian brain that is in fact more ancient and designed to respond to distress and threat. That is like another being, an animal being that can in fact take over and is present and is ready to be like another personality, another form. That we experience that way, and other people who relate to us can experience that other side that can be represented as change animal, a reptile, a dragon, a lion, a frog. And they can also represent possession by our inner complexes, or imagos they're sometimes called, our images, say, that go back to our parents, and that they can awaken and enter into our relationship, so that, like the lion is relating to this woman under the form of a dragon, he's relating to her not as she is, but under a form that is very deep and powerful for him, maybe attached to his mother. And in fact, the dragon, serpent, sometimes has this meaning in fairy tales of the deep family kinship bonds. So the story of the hero rescuing the princess from the dragon has sometimes the meaning of the man rescuing the bride-to-be from particularly the father and the family entanglements or bonds that are very deep, and that to marry the person, they must be kind of brought out of that state, that dragon state. So this could be one interpretation of the dragon woman that the lion is in struggle with, or fighting with, or in maybe a kind of a love-hate entanglement with, is it could be his psychic inner mother, and how he hasn't worked that out so that he could be united with his wife, just as she hasn't worked out her bond with her father in order to be united fully with her husband. And the wind tells her what she in fact goes on to do, that when she finds the lion and the dragon fighting at the Red Sea, she is to count the reeds on the bank of the sea, and when she gets to the 11th, to break it off and strike the dragon with the reed. And this will allow the lion the strength to overcome it, and both to regain their human form. So something that the girl has the kind of awareness of, to be able to count and to offer, to give the husband the strength in this conflict, to overcome and to be released of the possession by these deep other sub-personalities and inner complexes and images. And then, guided by the advice of the wind, she is to look around and see a griffin there by the Red Sea. A griffin is a lion and eagle combined together, a lion body with an eagle head and wings. And she is to take her husband and get on the back of it and fly over the sea on the griffin, and the wind gives her a nut. And when she's over the center of the sea, she is to drop the nut. And when it falls in the sea, a tree will shoot up from the midst of the sea that will allow the griffin to rest. Otherwise, he will not be strong enough, and he will let them fall into the sea. Here we see how progressively symbolic and dreamlike this fairy tale is getting, which I think is because it's going deeper and deeper into the unconscious, that this couple in their relationship, their struggles are going deeper and deeper into the dream world, the unconscious, the archetypal and evolutionary past that's affecting their relationship, and they are working at this layer, which relationships do. They lead people into this area there to work out and transform these things. So the Red Sea, I believe here, it's a biblical image. It could be taken, but I think it's more alchemical here, as like the molten sea, the surface of the molten metal that is being purified and transformed in the marriage relationship process. But what happens is when she takes the reed and strikes the dragon, yes, they transform back into man and woman, and the lion overcomes. But the woman takes the lion onto the griffin and carries him away. So there, the poor girl who has been doing so much and had hoped that this was it, finally, these struggles would be past and they could be together, is left on the shore alone. And she sits down there and cries. But eventually, after her cry, she regains courage and says, I will go, as far as it takes, as far as the wind blows, until I find my beloved, my husband. And so she takes a long journey along very long roads until she comes to a castle where both the lion man and dragon lady are living together. And she hears, as she's there outside the castle, that soon they are going to celebrate their wedding. And she says, God is still helping me. So here she goes to the deepest archetypal power. And she opens the casket that the sun has given her. This is time. She's in the great distress, and it's a crisis point that the husband is going to be bound in some way to this dragon lady. And when she opens this, a dress as brilliant as the sun is in there. So she takes it and puts it on and goes to the castle. And everyone, even the bride, the dragon lady, is astonished. And the dragon lady wants it so much, and she asks to buy it. And the girl says, no, I will not sell it for money, land, anything, but only for flesh and blood. The dragon lady says, what do you mean by that? And she says, I want to sleep a night in the chamber where the bridegroom sleeps, her husband. And The dragon lady at first does not want to do this, and finally she gives in because she is so desirous or greedy of the shiny dress. So she agrees to let this woman spend a night with her bridegroom. So here, this dragon woman, who we said could be taken in one sense for the man's mother, or his kind of mother image and attachments and loves that are causing difficulty in the relationship. I was with a therapist friend of mine and talking about stories where mothers are, like in fairy tales, are kind of threats and harmful to their children, like in Hansel and Gretel and other ones. And this therapist's wife said, "Oh, that's very harsh on mothers. Mothers give so much to their children. They give nourishment and care and love." And my therapist friend added, "Yes, and they also give them all their neuroses." And it seems maybe that's a part of this meaning of this fairy tale. But like in fairy tales, there's multiple levels, and like in symbols, that's the advantage of symbols, that they can contain multiple simultaneous meanings, even better than articulate speech can. So you could take this dragon woman who is trying to wed and unite with the girl's husband as another former relationship, former lover, former partner, and the process of working with that in the relationship. Sometimes relationships have difficulties because those former relationships with former partners are not worked out and resolved, which can be an ongoing process, come up again and again. It can be externally or internally. This woman too, the dragon woman, could also be seen as a form of the wife. In other words, is the husband going to marry the real wife, or this aspect and form, maybe a false self of the woman, the wife? The dragon woman is willing to give up a night with the man for the sake of a beautiful dress, or in the next case we'll see some golden chickens. So that's can be one aspect of the woman in a relationship. What is her priority? Is she seeking external things, provisions, in such an extent and way that she's missing the real interpersonal relationship, the real depth of the marriage? So the dragon lady could also be seen to symbolize this and express this struggle and area of growth in a relationship. But what she does is she allows the girl to spend a night with the bridegroom, but she gives him a sleeping potion so that he is drugged and unconscious. So she sits by the bed and starts to tell him who she is and what she's done. She says, I followed after you for 7 years. I have been to the sun and the moon and the four winds and asked after you and have helped you against the dragon. Will you then completely forget me? And the prince just sleeps. And to him, it sounds like there's wind whistling in the trees when his wife is speaking to him. And when the day comes, she's led away and she has to give over her golden dress. There we have this really powerful image of this point in the relationship. The wife is telling the husband what it's like for her, what she's been going through, revealing this to him, and he sleeps. He can't really hear it. He just hears some whispering. And it's actually in their bedroom chamber. So the man at this point is in a state where he's unconscious to the deeper feelings and experiences of his partner. She is trying to express herself and he can't really hear her. To her it seems he's asleep, she's unheard. To him it seems there's just this meaningless whispering sound, not even words. And this dragon, this lion man who's battled a dragon, here is in the bedroom chamber, just asleep. And sometimes we have that, the male who's courageous and conquering and heroic and goes through these heroic deeds and shows his strength to get the woman, is courageous enough to maybe get the woman, but not enough to continue in the intimacies of real love, so that he is unconscious to the deeper person of the woman, and she feels that. So the woman breaks open the egg that the moon has given her. And out of the egg come a chicken and 12 little chicks of gold chirping around, and the dragon lady sees this from a window and wants these golden chicks. So here the egg and the chicks, something to do with procreation, is an area of conflict here, and she wants them to buy them, but again, the true wife says, she won't sell them, but she'll trade them for another night in the bedroom with her real husband, the lion man. So that happens, but the man says, he asks about the whispering sound, and his servant tells him what happened, that this woman came and spoke to him all night. So he doesn't drink the potion, and she comes in and she tells her story, what she's been through, what she's suffered, the depth of her experience, and he now immediately recognizes his beloved wife by her voice. And he leaps up and cries, "Now I am truly released. I have been like in a dream For a strange princess has bewitched me so that I forgot thee. But God has released me from this spell at the proper time. So he is awakened when he can finally hear his wife's voice and her story. And he says before that, he has been as in a dream. So one woman told that she was married for 25 years and her husband finally left her. And she said when he closed the door, it was settled, he was leaving, and he actually left. The marriage was over. He closed the door. Suddenly, she was awakened and she realized they never really knew each other in that marriage. And so the husband says here, now I am released, I have been as it were in a dream, and I forgot you, I did not know you. So he finally awakens out of this state that, in the story of this woman was in fact what was going on for 25 years. And the fairy tale is telling us this happens at times, but there's hope, there's powers that can awaken us to the true selves of one another. And so they both leave secretly at night. It says because they feared the father of the woman, the dragon lady, who was a sorcerer. Kind of a strange little detail, but there's entered some father problem again that they're afraid of now. A father can bring an enchantment. And they get on the back of the griffin, the lion eagle, who carries them across the Red Sea. And when they're in the middle of it, she lets drop the nut that the wind has given her, and immediately grows up a tall tree whereon the griffin rests with them so that he gets the strength to carry them home. And that's how our story ends. And with this image parallel to the beginning, notice. The beginning, there was a tree, and the father approached it with the bird on the top and the lion on the bottom. Now we have the couple on the back of a griffin that lands on a tree. There's a tree now the bird and the lion are united on the top, not separated, so that her desire in the lark and her fears of the lion are now reconciled. She is finding that aspiration that she put in the lark, but now in a new transformed, more realistic, realized form. And they have sorted out the enchantment and struggles that the father and more symbolically and broadly all their past relationships and the neuroses from their parents and their past family issues and former partners, all those they have become conscious and allowed themselves to transform and are seated on the tree in the midst of the sea, on top of the now united bird and lion.